Hello, it's Philip Damiano here from beautiful Bundaberg up in Central Coast up here in Queensland. Part 3 of the 12 volt setup. I know some of you have been looking forward to this, and believe me, I have been too. So, we've basically got most of the parts we need. So as you know, if you watched part 1 and part 2, you'd probably know by now that we're using the Egon DC Hub that Andrew St. Pierre with Heinz have produced, and it's a beautiful unit. And I tell you what, this morning I actually pulled apart my old battery system, and it's amazing how many cables that I can do away with now. It's just incredible. The crimps, the cables, I've just got a pile there sitting on top of me iCamper, just on a spare table in here in my garage, just full of all the components that I won't need anymore. And it's basically going to be replaced with what you see here, apart from only one item left is the cable that runs to the DC-DC cable. Or in my case, it's actually going to go to the DC hub, and the DC cable will install on there. So I've made a decision where I'm going to install it. Now, as you know, I'm going to stick with my 120 amp AGM, kick-ass AGM battery for now. Hence why I don't have the ARB twin compressor here now, because that battery can't cope with that high draw from that twin compressor. When I upgrade to a lithium battery, then I'll be able to run the ARB compressor straight from here. Basically, I've decided I'm going to install the DC hub with my Red Arc DC charger and my Victron solar regulator. You see I've got the kick-ass fridge here. So when I won this, it came with a really nice sturdy solid steel constructed fridge cage. Now I can move that, and it's hardly moving at all. So I'm going to mount a board on the back of that. So I'm going to mount it on there. Now the board I've already made up here, so I've just finished painting it. So what I've done is I've just got a bit of ply. As you can see, I've stuck some carpet on it, marine carpet. So all these components are going to mount onto this board. But before I do that, this board will be mounted. So basically I'll just get a plate at the back here and just mount it, sandwich it in between the cages there, and that'll hold it nice and sturdy. Now another item I haven't shown you yet. This is what we're going to mount the DC hub into. So basically this is going to mount like so. And then it also comes with the Perspex cover. I'll show you that shortly. And then I'd figure I'm going to put the DC charger right here. The MPPT solar regulator, the Victron that I've got, I'm going to mount that over here. So that means that's basically the lot. That's just about everything. That's all I need that's going to be mounted on this board. So what that means is that I'm going to actually have two MPPT solar regulators on this, because this one here has got a built-in MPPT solar regulator. So this is my Red Arc 1225D that I purchased many years ago, and not long after it first came out. And it's actually compatible with lithium, but the problem is the maximum amps it'll put in is 25. So one of the benefits of lithium is its fast charge capability. So there's no point, you know, having that really good option and not use a faster charger. So I'm kind of kicking myself at the time I didn't buy the 1240D. It would have been an overkill. I would have had no choice anyway. But if I had a choice, I would have gone for that one. The maximum this one can handle, they say, is 25 amps coming into it. And I believe it's the same 25 amps coming out. Hence why I can't plug my ARB twin compressor through it. So my ARB twin compressor, when I use it, I plug it, I connect it to the starter battery, and I have the vehicle running. So it's inside a port. So when I need to use it, open it up, couple of alligator clips, and bang. But I want to use that, do that as a more permanent installation. So that'll probably be a video on its own, but it'll be mounted up here on this side here eventually. So that's what we're going to do now, guys. So I've been uptown this morning. I've got some extra cable. Now the cable you see here, this is 32 square squared, okay? So it's 32 squared. I got the new fuse. There's only 2 external fuses that I'm going to require at this stage, apart from the fuses that's in the DC hub, which is the positive for the dual battery and the positive for the starter battery, for the starter. And now that one's already got that installed. I'm not going to replace that one. That's still in the vehicle because I've been using my Red Arc DC Hub for quite some time now. So as I mentioned, that's staying there. The only issue I have, it's about 1 metre short. So I went uptown and got an extra metre today. I'm going to connect these and that'll give me that extra metre because I'm relocating the location of where everything is going to be mounted. Tomorrow we're going to start the installation phase, as long as it's not stormy or rainy. We've had a few days of rain here. So that's a fuse there. Now that's quite a hefty fuse. So I've got 150 amps fuse there. So remember, this device here will handle continuous in one hit 150 amps. So I'm running 150 amps. I've got approximately 2 metre of battery cable, which is going to run from my deep cycle battery, and that's going to run into this terminals here. But when I start installing this, show you how it's installed and how I'm going to wire it up. So right now this video here is just basically telling you what ideas I've got, the components I'm using. As you can see, I've got some fuses here. So I've got a 30 amp fuse here, I've got a 40 amp fuse here, I've got an 80 and I've got a 50. So basically the 50 is going to be a spare. The 40 amp will be used for the DC charger. So that'll be plugged in over here. The 30 amp I'm probably going to use for this fella here. Okay, even though it's either the 30 or the 50, that's why I got the 30 or the 50, because this is compatible up to 50 amps. So this is 100 volt, 50 amps it can import, but I don't have the solar power to put in the 50 amps. The maximum I'm getting right now with my solar blanket is around about the 17 amps. So I figured a 30 amp will be probably more than enough safe to use that. And of course I got the 80 amp here for in the future when I get my lithium battery. And this 80 amp fuse will then plug in here, and then I can run my ARB twin compressor through the one device right here, just mount it off the side here. That way I don't have to carry an extra box with me that's going to take up much room. Not only that, it's quite heavy. I don't know if you've ever picked one up, but it's got the compressor tank, it's got the air tank in it as well, and combined all that, it's quite a fair bit of weight there, but excellent air pump. It's not going to be a 3-week wait for the next video because I want to get into this now. Another reason why there's been a bit of a delay is because of how hot it's been here. I just haven't been able to withstand more than 5 minutes inside the shed, and it's just too hot outside and I don't have any cover out the back here. So unfortunately, I've been waiting for the weather to cool down before I can start this build. So my part 2 was 3 weeks ago. I was quite surprised when I seen that. But I'd say probably by the end of this weekend, this here will be all mounted up and running. So there'll be a few videos over the next few days showing how all this is put together. So if you've got any questions, just ask below. So that's the plan. So tomorrow, after I let this dry a bit, so tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going to mount this to the back of my fridge cage. And then once I've done that, well, actually I'll probably mount this first. So this here is going to be mounted like so, and then the DC hub will be mounted on top of that. And then I've got a Perspex glass here. You can see this Perspex, so it's got a clear cover on it at the moment, and that gets mounted on the top there. So it's quite a nice finish as well. So, and of course all these cables here, I won't need to use this Anderson plug anymore, so I'm just going to cut these cables off and just strip them a bit, and they're all going to be connected in there. They're all got the screw-in lugs, so they'll all be screwed in there. And of course this is me positive, so that's going to go to the positive of the deep cycle battery. And then I've got the red cable here, which will connect onto there, but I'll show you all this tomorrow or the next day. And then I've just got to strip this, and then this here will connect straight through there. So it's basically, it's about the biggest cable I could get that's going to fit in there, and it's about 32 squared, mil squared, around about that, 32, 33, could even be 35. So it's more than enough, particularly that short run, to manage my battery system. So guys, so thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, just put them down below, and keep tuned. The next day or two, the next video will be up showing it's starting to install this. And then once we've got it installed, then I might do another video where we're just going to wire it up and turn it on, and hopefully all working good. So stay tuned guys, won't be long now. See you next time.